Hello and welcome to the Flourishing Center podcast. I'm Emiliya Zhivotovskaya, your host and founder of the Flourishing Center. We are training the change agents of the world and equipping them with research-based tools for healthy, happy, and successful living. And we're so grateful that you're here.
Welcome to Coach's Corner, where you get to hear positive psychology in action through real-life coaching sessions with Emiliya Zhivotovskaya. She's the CEO and founder of the Flourishing Center and holds an MCC Master Certified Coach credential with the International Coaching Federation, the ICF. Coaching helps people get from where they are to where they would like to be. Listening to real-life sessions with real people helps us learn and grow together to lead happier, healthier, and more flourishing lives. We hope you enjoy listening to the transformative journeys of those that can help you in creating powerful and positive change in your life.
Thanks for listening, and let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Before we dive into this coaching session that you are about to listen to, just want to take a moment to give you some things to listen for as you observe this session between Raj and I. As you know, our Coach's Corner is an opportunity for you guys to see coaching in action. And one of the things about positive psychology-based coaching is that we hold this mindset, this belief that our client has within them all that they need and all that they have they need. And you're going to see this as you listen to Raj's session, where in the beginning, he's feeling really frustrated. He wants to make this career change, yet he's got so many blockages and so many obstacles and so many things to just make it seem like this is never going to happen for him in any time soon. And yet in coaching, we believe that there's always something that the person wants to move forward on. Where there is a will, there is a way. Where there is hope, there's always a first step that the person can take. It's not always that they're going to get every single part of their problem resolved in just a 1-hour coaching session. But yet we believe that there's always something that is wanting to be birthed within the person, something that they want to take action on. And you're going to see that over the course of this session as we support Raj in tapping the resourcefulness that he has within him. Be on the lookout for how I use paraphrasing and curious questions to support him on that journey. And notice how he is leading the dance and that I, as his coach, I am the follower. I hold the space, I hold the container, but it is his wisdom that we are tapping in this session. Enjoy. So Raj, thank you so much for volunteering to do this coaching session with me today. And I'm curious, what would you like to focus on?
Thank you so much, Emiliya. I want to focus on my career. Basically, right now I'm working as a technical manager in the software industry. I would like to pursue a career in medicine. Specifically, I want to pursue my career in ancient Indian medicine called Ayurveda. However, right now with my current problems, I don't see a path how I can reach faster, and I also feeling that I may not be able to reach quick enough. I'm probably never going to make it. So I really want a direction for myself as to how I can reach my goal.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Well, I want to firstly just take a moment to acknowledge you that it's not an easy thing to own and be truthful to your heart about what it is that you want to do. And I would imagine that for many people, they might see technical manager and Ayurvedic medicine doctor as being a bit on two opposite sides of the spectrum. And obviously they're two important parts of who you are. And so I just want to take a moment to honor that you're really listening to your heart and what your heart is calling you towards.
Thank you so much for acknowledging that. As you rightly said, it's also a big game changer wherein I might not earn enough probably to live the life I'm leading right now, probably end up living a very basic, simple, menial life as well. So I have a lot of concern. I can walk you through what I'm thinking right now. So thank you so much.
Yeah. And I hear you saying that the part of the challenge you're facing right now is that when you're thinking about making this transition, that it feels like there are many obstacles or things that might get in the way that would make it harder to just create the career that you're wanting in this. And so you don't see as many pathways as you would like.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So what would you want to come from our time together today that would be helpful for you about this?
Could you please repeat your question, please? Sorry.
Yeah. What would you like for us to explore together? What would be helpful from our coaching session today that would help you move forward on this?
So basically, I have found some pathways, but there are a lot of obstacles, and it's more of from a third eye perspective, or like somebody apart from me looking into my career or my thinking patterns and probably remove some obstacles or direct me, okay, this you can do. And I've heard you even coach positive psychology. So there could be something I'm not thinking positively. So probably you can help me, think more positively about it. So that is what I'm looking forward to or rather achieve from this session.
Mm-hmm. So I hear that there might be a couple of places that you'd want to go in. One is the possibility that you're thinking you might have some thinking patterns that might stop you from making
Hmm.
the career change and that you want to feel like you've got a little bit more direction in
Yes,
where you're headed.
precisely, yes.
Hmm. And I'm curious, when you think about how you're approaching this, what types of thinking patterns do you want to have?
Uh, Basically, I'm a planner. So I'm thinking in terms of number of years and number of steps that I have to take every year and what is my working towards that goal on a daily basis or probably weekly basis in order to reach where I want to reach. So um, yeah, it's more likely if I'm kind of skeptical, would I really make it? Or sometimes I also think that, okay, is it really something you can achieve or probably it can never happen?
Hmm.
No?
And I'm curious when you are, so you hear that part of the way that you're showing up is that your strengths are that you want to be able to plan it. And I almost get this image of like this tug of war between the part of you that sees all the details and knows the details and plans out the details. And then it's like you get overwhelmed by the details. And so you go to
Hmm.
the opposite extreme and you say, is this really achievable? And it sounds like there's almost like being pulled in two different directions.
Yes. So if it's okay, I can share like more details of how I think or probably some research I did about it and then why I'm like blocked from my mind or probably from even trying about it. So
Mm.
if would it be something you want me to express about, like more
Sure.
details or
Yeah, of
cool.
course.
So basically, any medical sciences needs at least 5 years of study plus 2 to 3 years of practice. So if I were to do, I have two choices basically. One, I can do it in India, which is 5 years bachelor course, and then probably couple of years of master course for Ayurveda to be a doctor and to be practicing in public with a license. And if I were to do that, I'm 36 years of age right now, and probably because right now I have to also take care of my mom and dad, my parents, because I have to monthly, facilitate the life living, and sometimes probably, help them with their health issues or probably some medical expenses, insurance, yada yada yada. Also, I have a mortgage that is going on in India, so I cannot leave. I have responsibilities, so I cannot just plug and play with my uh, career opportunities where I have a study. I need to have a study earning at this present moment. So if I were to do start on my career path, I need to have a study earning at the same time, which is not possible when you're studying because it's a full-time study. Like Ayurveda studies are like so intensive, especially because I'm from a background where I'm more into computers, software, technical, a lot of other side of the world, as you said, rightly said. So it's a transition, and I cannot afford to lose time over job when I'm actually studying. So that's the first part of it. The easiest, if I were to look up, is that I study in USA. Like California is the place, or West Coast is the place in USA where this is a shorter time. Like I have looked up, I did my own research, consulted few of the Ayurveda doctors who are practicing in USA, some Indians and some Americans as well. I also called few colleges, Ayurveda colleges, and found out information about how the courses are and all that. So the possibility is that I can be a practitioner, Ayurveda practitioner here in USA just by studying 3 years and probably associating with them for under 2 years. So it should be like 5 years. I can do it quicker. However, if I do it in USA, I can only be a consultant where I can only suggest few things. I'll not be going further in like surgery and all that. Whereas if I do in India, I can do surgeries, I can do a higher level of specialties. That's a possibility. However, if I do it in USA, that is not acceptable, or rather USA doesn't have licenses to Ayurvedic practitioners, whereas they can do surgeries or higher specialized um, health issues resolution things are not licensed or permitted in USA. Also, if I were to practice in USA, the only part of USA which is completely licensed is West Coast, specifically Colorado and California, where I can practice it. Otherwise, other states, 48 states, are probably few states allow it with like conditions, but not full-fledged as the California state. So this is my overall research and analysis about the course. Now, if I get into me doing it right away, I can jump it as I mentioned, because right now I have to support my family. I cannot just jump in unless I make some money, keep it as a reservoir or like a repository so that I can monthly give it to them, or it can take care of them automatically, you know. So I had to like have like a few years of earnings to save it and then do it. However, I cannot stay in USA for more years unless I have like visa. Also, the other problem is that I had to be a citizen, or if I were in the current visa right now, I cannot study alone because I had to be working every week 40 hours plus to stay in the country because I'm a worker with specialty. So I had to hear if I were to stay legally in United States, I can only do that with connected to my IT job all the time. So it seems like a tricky situation, and like so with this here you can achieve it faster, whereas if I go there it is longer. However, you cannot do both. I kind of figured out some issues, some things where if I were to stay, my green card is being processed. Even though if my green card I get the green card, it's like 15 years or something with the current trend, because Indians are a lot and the queue is very big to get the approval for green card.
Yeah.
So even in the green cards processing, I can stay in the country for 15 years doing IT work. I cannot just jump the job, switch the job with different, switch into studies. I can be working in other category or like field. However, I cannot just study alone. That's not legal. So there are like complications and stuff like that, which makes it feel like I cannot do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you as to how frustrating it can feel because you, on the one hand, can see the options, but there are limitations. And so I hear that you have thought this through to recognize that you've got options around where you can study. However, it feels like there's this part of you that would really love to be able to do the full Ayurvedic path, knowing what
Mhm.
Ayurvedic medicine is capable of, something that enables you to perform surgery if you needed, to really take it to a deep understanding of the medicine that you want to offer. And yet at the same time, there's the practicality of not being able to just stop what you're doing and your current full-time job because of the responsibilities you have to your family, which I also want to honor because I know how important that responsibility is to you and how dedicated you are to your family and supporting them. And I hear that you have options like possibly studying here in the U.S. However, that education is a bit more limited for you compared to if you were doing things that doing the Ayurvedic training elsewhere. And there's complexities in terms of your immigration and being able to stay here. If you were to stay here, you would have to continue. So I can see how it's this frustrating situation where you want to expand your wings, you want to change your course of direction, and yet there's these things that are on your wings. These, it's like your wings are bolted down or they're stapled together, and you can't quite spread your wings and fly on your own.
Yes. Also, there is another thing I heard, like many of my friends, when I discuss with them, they say, okay, if you get married to someone who is American, you can just, the country and then you can study too, as long as the other, like my partner, future partner also is in tune with what I want to do. Like, she wants to be also an Ayurvedic practitioner or something, then it will be like ideal world. That's the ideal world. But I do not want to get into any relationship for my personal greed, which is or rather my goal, and spoil someone else's life if they're not interested. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just date somebody just for the sake of staying in the country, then kind of use them.
Of course.
So that's something. Yeah.
But I can hear that literally you've tried, I get this image of you like looking under every rock for possible solutions, even one that is not aligned with your character or anything you would ever do. It's like you've really tried to think of every option. And before we explore what you'd want, what your mindset wants to be, or how you want to be viewing the situation, I'm curious, what is it about this career path that's important to you?
For me, life is about, like from childhood, life is about service. Life is about, life is more meaningful to me only when I'm of some help to somebody. So currently when I do my job, I'm happy doing what I'm doing and I give my 100%. But end of the day, I feel like my life is being wasted. Like, just creating some softwares, helping some 10 people who are doing some business. So for me, life is more meaningful when I really help someone live better, like resolve the health problems. And also when I look into the businesses that happen with healthcare, I really want to eradicate money being an obstacle for people to get healthcare. Really, like in India, in US, if you see people spend thousands and thousands of dollars just to get them basic medical things. So I want to live a meaningful life where I can help as many people as possible on a daily basis to kind of alleviate their problems, health problems with natural solutions. Because it's also, if you see, it's more a business model where you become a permanent consumer. For me as a doctor, right? That's the trend right now. So if you visit a doctor, it's like every month they make sure that you visit them by either medicine, like someone else is getting profited, or like human beings are kind of treated as a commodity for getting business on a cycle, which continuously either give um, business to the pharma industry or for the doctors, where they'll be keep on visiting. Like, let's say if I have diabetes, that's it. I'm a permanent customer for a doctor for life. So I really want to change that in the world, and that's something which is boiling in me since I'm like probably 20 years old. When I saw my mom got this issue of diabetes, and when few of my family members also died because of the heart attack and stuff like that, they are like had to be a customer of some doctor continuously visiting, and they eat medicine as food, whereas food can be medicine, right? So that's the whole perspective of mine, where I want to change how the healthcare is for as many people as possible, at least for the people who cannot afford it. Probably like in India, where there are rural areas, or probably in USA, where people are really struggling. And if with my expertise, I kind of believe I have a magical hand where I can really, because it kind of tunes with my thinking, and I feel for the medicine, and I feel for the herbs, I feel for the natural solutions for a lot of health issues that we go through. Yeah, this is kind of like sense that I have for my passion.
Mm-hmm. And I can feel your passion coming through, even just through this phone, that the desire to be of service and to help, and being really aware of what's broken in the system, and so much wanting to be a part of the solution.
Yes.
And so when we first started this conversation, you talked about how one of the obstacles you're feeling has to do with losing your hopefulness about the change that you want to make. And you mentioned that you think that maybe there's some thinking patterns that might be getting in your way. And I'm curious, how do you want to think about what's coming up for your career?
That's one of the things I am very unclear, because every day I try to find a new way to how to kind of get out of this thing. And I can see that as long as I'm in this job, or like when I'm not starting my path, I don't see a clear path. Like, how do I go and do it? Because it's like a cycle. So every month you earn money, you send money, and you earn money, and you send money, spend money. So it's keep on going. So it kind of like my current job and responsibility. I feel like sometimes it's never end, you know, or like, uh, what is the end to it? Like, can I also feel that, at any point of time, if you want to do something, there shouldn't be any obstacle. Like, it's only my mind block. I kind of, heard from people with a lot of wisdom, that they say that it, our mind is our block, right? So, but I could quite don't figure this out here, because I feel like I'm in a cycle of earning and spending, and taking care of things right now with my responsibility, as so to speak. But I feel there should be a way. Like there's something burning in me, or like something it says that no, there should be a way out. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. I celebrate your awareness of that feeling, and really being present to it, that there's a burning inside of you that's saying there should be a way. And I hear that your voice changes, and you get really determined when you say there's got to be a way around this. And given the fact that you don't see a path, what do you need?
I think the need of this hour is money, because if I earn more money, I would be able to like clear my responsibilities faster. Like, especially with my mortgage back in India, I own a house and I have a mortgage on it. So if that is clear, like I can say like 70 to 80% of my problem is solved. Then the next problem, only smaller problem, would be to take care of my family on a regular basis, which would be very less money comparatively. So that way, and it also secures my family, my mom and dad's stay. Like if they have own house which is completely paid off, I don't have to worry about them anymore. Like on a larger scale, right? So that's the first problem I thought. And also I kind of, my mind thought like, okay, I should change my career here wherein I earn more money. So I wanted to take a jump from this company which I'm working right now to a different company. Or I also thought, I'm capable of doing more things technically, or taking up a higher job as a consultant somewhere else. And maybe 1.5 times I'm earning right now. Also, I thought about creating some technical solutions like apps, dating apps and stuff like that with my own thinking, or like my own creativity to it. I thought about all that, but I also feel like, do we really have the time to do it right now? Meaning, I'm in a job where I had to be, it's like a routine job where I had to do 9 to 5 work, and then I have to take care of myself, my practices, yoga and all that. So, and a healthy life and stuff like that. So there is some sacrifice needed in those lines as well if I were to uh, take that additional jump, and also a risk involved, because if if I were to change my job, it's a huge risk in the current state of immigration and stuff, because there are a lot of rejections for career changes recently. In fact, my visa extension was also rejected recently. So it's a risk I don't know if I can afford. That's another thing bothering me. Like, I can take risk. However, let's say if I fail and if I were to go back to India, then I'd be financially in a bad situation, which happened to me last year, 2018, from Jan to August. I struggled a lot financially when I have to, my visa extension was denied and I had to go back to India. Financially, I struggled a lot for 8 months. So that's another thing. I cannot afford to do that. So that's like a block, or rather, from my experience, I don't feel like taking that risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
But definitely, but definitely, earning more money is is a solution for my problem.
Mm-hmm. And what is this part of you that says that earning more money would be a solution? Say to this other part of you that wants to make this change sooner.
Yes, pretty soon. My goal or my plan was like, okay, 3 years is my time. Next 3 years is my time to kind of wrap this up, and I had to change my career path. But I don't see it happening with the way I'm. If I assess myself where I am and how I'm earning and what's going on a regular cycle, I don't see it. Like, I don't see mathematically that happening. You know what I mean?
Mm. And it's interesting because I hear you saying that there's this part of you that really wants to see the plan and wants to see the path. And that's an important thing that would enable you to start walking, right? Or walking on the path. But the path isn't clear. And there are ways in which that is emotionally impacting you to not know what the path is, being very aware of the limitations or things that you're experiencing that makes it more difficult. And
Yes.
and so I'm curious what it would be like to separate those two things out, separating out the need to have the plan or the desire to have a plan, and yet have that be different from beginning to take some action steps.
I did not understand that, but how do you segregate or differentiate or separate the plan versus the action? Did I get it correctly?
Yeah, like I get this image where you're like, I can't take any action on being of service to people in this particular way because the way to do that is to become an Ayurvedic doctor, and I'm not sure what the first steps are, and I need to know the steps in order to be able to walk on this path. And not knowing the path is also frustrating you immensely. Um, so I heard you say in the beginning that what you want to be able to do is identify your direction a bit more. And I hear that you've got a few different options, and it's going to take you some time to identify which option to take, or maybe a whole other option that you haven't thought of yet. And that you currently, it felt like the thinking patterns that you were having about this situation were making you maybe feel a bit more frustrated, or that it was never going to happen, that it's just too far away. And I'm curious, how would you prefer to feel about the situation?
Although I would say every time I plan and I see a path and I see that there are blocks, I'm kind of a pretty positive person. Even though, let's say today I kind of make plan and I'm like 2 days, 3 days thinking about it, details and collect details, and I say, okay, this cannot be done. 2 days later, let's say third day, I'm frustrated, I'm probably disappointed that it doesn't work. Fifth day, I get one more idea. Oh, this may be there. So my mind actually it's not doesn't stay in the frustrated mode for longer. That's a blessing I think I got. So I've been positive about it. It's not like it bothers me every day. Just that it is kind of an itch, which is meaningful, and also it's beautiful too. Like I should say that it doesn't bother me uh, to live my life. However, there's a craving, that is not quenched or like fulfilled.
Hmm. So given the fact that you are not staying too discouraged for too long, right? That I hear you saying that you're frustrated, but it feels like you're moving forward on this anyway. Is that accurate?
I'm not moving, but I'm getting new ideas, like new paths. Like for example, I find a path and like the destination is fixed. So I have a goal, I have a marker on the goal, right? And I choose one milestone, and that milestone doesn't work. And I'm like after 3 days, I change the milestone to be something else, and it's keep on changing. Like, but it's not so frequently, but like 3 days, as I mentioned. But I'm getting newer ideas to go there or newer paths, getting back there back and again, even if I forget it for 2 days. That's how I put it.
Hmm. And so in terms of what you wanted to get out of the session, I heard you saying that you want to think about things in a more positive way and that you want to feel like you're getting clear on your direction. So what do you feel that you need to move towards that?
Mm, um, what do I need to move towards? I don't know. Honestly, I go blank sometimes thinking about it. Right now, too, I even blank when you ask that question. Um, yeah, I don't know. Should I? My question would be more: should I take risks that are in front of me, where I can earn more money or not, or am I too being uh, negatively impacted by my life situation that happened and where I suffered?
Hmm. What would that look like to take that risk?
A lot of shame and a lot of frustration at the same time. In the worst case, so I always think like this: what worst can happen if I were to take the risk, fail in it, and then see? Um, so the worst could be like I go back to India and I start my job there, which would not earn as much as money I'm earning right now, and probably like if I see the path there, even more difficult with the social life. Uh, yeah, so that's not like the something that I would not enjoy right now at this present situation in my life.
Hmm. So it sounds like you just answered your own question.
Did I?
What do you think?
I don't know. Did I answer my question?
You said, do I take this risk, right? Do I take the risk? And then you said, it's not something I'd enjoy right now. It's not what I want right now.
Oh, okay. The answer is I should take the risk. Is that the answer?
Well, I'm asking you. It's your question. You said I wouldn't enjoy this right now. You said that this isn't that if I were to take the risk and I would have to go back, it's not what you would want right now. And I'm curious if that offers you what insight that offers you into your question.
Uh, to my, I don't know, probably, uh, yeah, I hear you. Like, probably I should take the risk
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Tell me more about that
about the risk.
or your decision.
Yeah, like um, taking a job in artificial intelligence and data sciences, which I'm already actually trained for, but I never did a job for data sciences in real world. Like I graduated with that as one of my skills, but I never used it. And I know it's fact that that is one of the booming fields right now in the United States, where you can earn a lot of money. So I actually thought about that too, but like I said, I was I'm a little bit concerned about jumping right into it uh, with a uh, kind of negative feeling about it, like I might fail
Mm. Mm-hmm.
because I don't have an experience in that field. I've been technical manager and doing XYZ technical things. I never. This will be a new field altogether. This is like one more career because you've been technical manager in Microsoft technologies all over your career, and this will be data sciences. Yes, you need some kind of background of all the technical that you did. However, you do not. I do not have the experience being a data scientist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I have to start my career afresh. And also the risk is that in USA it's more hire and fire. Let's say if I were to get into a company as a data scientist or a beginner data scientist, and in the worst case, if the boss, I get a worst boss, I probably can't achieve what they expect me to do, I'll be fired and I'll be nowhere. Because with that risk, I have to leave the country, United States in 15 days when I lose the job. Whereas in my current company, even if I lose one customer, they have globally they have many customers or client base, so they'll position me if not in New Jersey, they'll place me somewhere in West Coast, Seattle, or New York. They have plenty of clients, so I wouldn't have to like worry about it.
Mm-hmm. So I hear that this potential career transition brings up some fear for you, but it could also bring in higher income for you, which is something that you need to support you towards the pathway towards being an Ayurvedic doctor. Is that correct?
Yes, because I also feel that data science is another thing where if West has to accept it completely, let's say, in some future, if Western world has to accept Ayurveda, you have to scientifically prove it. And right now, anything and everything in medical or clinical research is based on data science. So everything that people take on Medicare is based on statistics, right? So this is one of the key things. If I were to someday prove Ayurvedic medicine to Western world, if I had the credentials of a data scientist, I think it would make it more. Uh, there'll be more weight on the in my the choice I give it to people.
Hmm. And I'm curious, what would be different for you if you weren't afraid?
What would be the feeling if I fail? Is that the question?
What would be different for you if you weren't afraid to fail?
If I was not afraid to fail, I think if I see the happy flow, like everything works fine, it's fantastic. I see like I can achieve my goal real fast, probably in 2 years, rather than thinking of 3 or 4 years. If I were not afraid of failing in this at all, it would be like cakewalk. You know what I mean? Like it's awesome.
Mm. Mm. And what kind of things? So I just want to celebrate that your energy changed so much when you were talking about like feeling this freedom. So what would it take to drop the fear?
Probably a backup plan, like I did this once. Let me tell you a little background why probably I feel so strongly about this. I did this career change thing once in 2010. I left my software engineering field and I went to UK to study. I was again trying to be a data scientist or things like that. I did my master's. However, for to do my research, I didn't get any grant. I got few projects where it was like only 50%. So I had plan A, plan B, plan C, and none of them worked. So when I went to UK and completed my master's, I was with first option I had was like, okay, I will join some lab where I'll be doing research. That didn't happen. I applied a lot of places, got a lot of interviews, but no grants. Then I thought, okay, if I have a master's, I can work in that field. And didn't happen too because UK market was very strict or like there was a lot of recession going on then. Again, the third option was, okay, I have software engineering background. Probably I can go back to software in UK, study, work for some time, and then get back. Meanwhile, I tried to get into some job, which is again research. That didn't happen either. So I had to return from United Kingdom literally losing all the earned money that I had at that time and empty-handed. And I got back to my software engineering field, thinking that, okay, if I were to try it again, I will have a lot of backup so that next time I don't feel like the way I feel this time.
Mm.
So that is a fear I had. Once I tasted what it to be like changing the field and then fail it utterly with all your plan A, plan B, plan C, and you had to return empty-handed, where I had no money to even book a flight. That was my situation when I returned from UK.
Mm-hmm. Well, your energy definitely shifts when you're talking about acting from this place of fearlessness, and there's a spontaneity to it and a kind of resourcefulness within yourself that feels like you're aware that you would figure it out, you'd handle it. Mm.
Yeah, it is so.
So I'm curious, where are you now about this topic compared to where we've started? What's changed for you?
Um, see that I am like this all the thoughts that are that kind of comes and goes every day, probably sometime when I'm like free-minded. So these thoughts that we collectively discussed was probably over a period of months. Like some thought comes, goes, and then some other thought comes, a solution, a problem, a solution, a problem. So it's like a mind chatter that happen over a period of probably month or two, or maybe less than a month, let's say. And I discuss this openly with the friends I or like people who are very close to me, which actually are more. So everybody gives their opinion, or everybody says something. So I kind of grasp it. But with you discussing, it's more you alone need to talk, and I kind of see a risk worth taking.
Mm-hmm. So currently at this time, you don't see a risk worth taking.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And let's say you were giving advice to a friend that was in a similar position, and they at this point said that they don't see a risk worth taking right now, and yet they have this desire to move forward. What would you advise for them to do?
If I were to advise a friend, yeah, I would definitely advise them to take the risk. You know, like if you see, if I've been even listening to a lot of people who achieved great in their lives, and it's because of the risk. Because even I also feel, when I was in UK, I gave up. Like I was without job for a month and a half after my degree, after my master's, and I was almost going to have no food because I didn't have money to eat either. So I thought probably I could have hung on more, or probably never gave up, because I had visa to stay in UK until like Jan, and I returned in October. So I was thinking that I should have struggled more and kept with my goal, and probably I could have got something into that. So that's another thing where I feel I gave up easily. So with that in mind, I also feel that right now it's a great, I'm in a great position to take that risk too.
Mm.
And I probably advise that friend of mine, if who are in similar situation, that something need to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Which of my thought, I think it doesn't come easy. You have to pay a price for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the price is the risk.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I celebrate that there's this part of you that says that you want to take that you want to take action, you want to take the risk, um, recognizing that it's there, almost like a feel the fear and do it anyway. Mm.
Hmm.
So what would the first step be?
I will probably start preparing, and do some background thinking on the uh, backup plan. Basically, like again, I see one more option actually while talking to you, that I can try to go to data sciences with my companies to gather the experience part of it, if that were like a key concern for me. Like, so gather some experience working in the data science field. That way, my job opportunities would be more secure when I jump from this current up current working place right now. That would be like a more structured approach rather than just jumping the field to a new company without the experience.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's beautiful. How does that feel like a first action step for you?
Yes, yes.
Mm, that's beautiful. So when we first started this call, you said that you wanted to get a little clearer on your direction. You really wanted to have kind of an attitude, a more positive attitude or thoughts that were going to be helpful for you. How are you thinking about all of this now?
I think it's changed from problem to more, from kind of 80% of problem space to like about 40% of the problem space and 60% of the solution space right now.
That's great. That's great. I
Yes.
celebrate that. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, we cleared some of it away, the kind of like the haze of it, in the sense that when you first were talking, it just seemed like there was a lot of being held down by the problem. And now I just kind of get this image of you being a little, it's a little brighter now. It's not so dark and rainy. It's like a little more sunshine right now. I don't know if that resonates with you.
Yes. Right.
So I'm curious, what did you discover in the session together?
I discovered that, um, discussing with someone who can really listen to and improve, I think there's a lot of solutions that can come out and a lot of blocks that can be cleared collectively if I start. Probably I also because I think that you have the experience to talk to people like me who are going through these things. So I feel that your questions, I discovered that your questions and your patience made me feel think deeper. The way you probed really helped me kind of recollect, dice it, and then put more light into like spotlight into each every problem, and then come out of it easy. Or probably at least see a path in the problems.
Mm, Beautiful. And how can I hold you accountable for the next steps that you want to take?
Uh, I think I have an approach for it. Like generally, I write it down
Mhm.
and I kind of evaluate it every week. That's part of my plan. However, I was kind of clear before I started the session. I was not clear where I should start, but right now I think I should take this as a sketch and then start immediately, uh, like writing down and then taking a step towards it.
Mm. Well, beautiful. I'm so excited for you, Raj, for your journey. And I'm excited that you feel clear and are ready to take action on it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amelia.
My pleasure. Does the session feel complete for you?
Yes, right now, yes, feel very complete with my path, and I think you helped me kind of go to this journey of the problem and discover solutions in there. Although it's not like I got it right away, like I see it more clearly than it was before.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey with me, with our podcast listeners, and giving me an opportunity to coach you today.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, and you.
Bye-bye.
This episode of Coach's Corner is brought to you by the Applied Positive Psychology Coaching Certification Program. Are you interested in learning and deepening your coaching skills? You can be trained by a master coach to do master level coaching that's grounded in the tenets of positive psychology and research. Learn more at theflourishingcenter.com/APPC.
Thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I want to encourage you to tell us, what would you love to hear more about? Is there an area of positive psychology you would love to get some more information on in terms of the research? Give us a shout out at info@theflourishingcenter.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you a wonderful flourishing day.